Okay. I feel like a lot of you are blindly accepting something and going ahead with something when your intuition is telling you that it is not the way to go. And that's the exact message that I was hearing when I was shuffling the cards, and it's showing up again in this spread. So just be very, very careful because I feel like there's going to be some sense of an empty victory by the end of this month. There's going to be a sense of like having no choice but to sever ties, okay? So be careful about where you're headed because I feel like your intuition is telling you this is not going to work out. This is not the right way to go. And you're like, no, I'm too invested in it. And you know, as a fire sign, and also as the first sign of the zodiac, and also as the sign that is ruled by the head, once you are fixated on something, you're very directed when it comes to your energy, when it comes to like achieving that one thing at the exclusion of something else, at the exclusion of like listening to other people and their advice, as well as like your intuition. So just be very careful because I feel like it's going to be a little bit of a painful fall at the end of this month when you realize that, oh, I knew all along, I should have listened to my intuition, okay? A lot of you, I feel this might pertain to a relationship because your financial situation looks really stable and steady. And I feel like you're making really good traction in the work environment. You're showing up here as the Knight of Pentacles. So I definitely feel like, you know, you're on top of your game. You're getting all your ducks in a row. You're taking care of responsibilities and you're catching up on things. You know, whatever has been falling on the wayside. I feel you like catching up on things. I also feel like a lot of you are busy cleaning your house. So you might be, I don't know, inviting another person back into your space or having people over. I feel like a significant relationship partner, having them over, cooking for them, or them cooking for you, or just spending a lot of time at home, okay, in a comfortable environment. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like I feel a lot of you are like cleaning up your house, dusting is what I'm sensing, buying wine. So I feel like you're dining somebody with somebody at home, cooking for someone at home. What I'm also feeling honestly is going back to this relationship situation. I feel like you know something's not going to work out, right? And you know that you and another person are just like really not on the same page. And I feel like honestly, you're spending a lot of home time at home, mainly because you don't want to have to explain to other people. If you do run into other people with this person in public, you don't want to have to explain yourself. That's what I'm feeling. And this could be because you might have had several relationships with them and all those, you know, several times of coming back together, it just didn't work out the way that you wanted, okay? Aside from that, it might be because you yourself or they themselves are seeing other people, so you're kind of like you or they are kind of like the side person that you're seeing, the mister or the mistress. So then, you know, I see a lot of spending time at home. Um and I feel like the walls are closing in and you're getting claustrophobic. I don't feel it's the other person. The other person is just like everything's fine and dandy, but you're just like, this is not right. And so I see that energy coming in where you're grappling with, you know, um, I feel like it's not an inner conflict either. You're just like, you know, this person is not right for you by every measure. I feel like you know it's not right, but you just, you just like, you want to just prove someone wrong. You want to just, I feel like you're just being stubborn. And I really can't explain it. I don't have any planets in Aries, so I don't know where this energy is permeating from. But it seems to me as if, like, you might just be stubborn. You might just be like, okay, well, if it doesn't work out, I'll move on to something else. So what's the harm? Well, the harm is that when we don't listen to our intuition is weakened. You know, it's kind of like one of those things, if you believe in magic, then magic will permeate throughout your life. If you don't trust your intuition, or if you choose to purposely ignore your intuition is going to be get rusty. And then the next time you really need to rely on your intuition, you have to start from scratch. You have to develop it, and it might not be there for you the next time that you feel you really need it. So a lot of the times, whenever we get that nudge from our intuition that, this is not the way to go, we have to trust it, okay? And Pisces are very, very good at trusting their intuition. First of all, they're the last sign of the zodiac, and they're also a water sign. They're highly in tune. And also because they know that, there is this sense of like trusting your intuition. There's this sacred bond between Piscean people and their intuition, their inner voice, and they respect it, they value it. But I feel like for this month with Aries, it feels as if you're forging ahead with something, and not trusting on, not relying on your intuition, okay? And your intuition is telling you you need to stop because you're headed the wrong way, and you're just like, what's the harm? I don't feel physical harm. I don't feel like emotional harm because you know what you're doing. But I feel like your intuition is there to allow you to grow, to allow you to elevate, to allow you to ascend to a higher state of vibration, to a higher state of being. And if you keep on doing this, I don't feel that it's going to bode well, okay? So this is going to play out in different ways for a lot of you. But I do sense that we need to be true to ourselves, and we need to be true to our higher selves. And the intuition is essentially our higher selves telling us, this is not, A is not working out, B is the road where you're supposed to go. So stay ahead of the game and make decisions that are a little bit more like geared towards long-term planning, long-term growth, long-term potential, okay? Rather than just what's in front of you, like, I'll go with this because it's right here. So then, what's the harm? So think about things in a little bit more of a long-term light. I feel that that's going to be better for you. What I'm also sensing is that there's this back and forth communication between you and another person. And I feel the other person, either an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, or an earth sign. So Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And what I'm feeling is the communication is kind of frustrating. It's kind of confusing. And I feel like one person says one thing and the other person like blows it out of proportion. And then somebody gets like defensive. Okay, so this is this back and forth between you and an air sign, or you and an earth sign. The earth sign is like getting a little bit frustrated, and they're just like, okay, they're ready to walk. It seems like they're ready to walk. And I feel like it requires a little bit of nudging from your end to get them to come back. So let your pride down and try to work at this relationship, especially if you're dealing with an earth sign, okay? And I feel like it could be family, it could be work related. With the air sign, I feel like this might be an ongoing issue. And I do sense that you both are very, I feel like, upfront and honest, but the way you interpret the communication is just very different. So being a little bit more patient is going to be vital for you when dealing with an air sign, okay? It's like they're not lying. I don't feel they're lying. I feel like you're not withholding the information either way, but just the way the information is disseminated and is like interpreted. They're like reading something else and you're reading something else, so it just feels like this mishmash of not seeing eye to eye. And what I'm also feeling is I feel for a lot of you, what it's saying to me is that a major, major phase in your life is coming to completion. It's coming to completion. And I feel like for a lot of you, it might pertain to outdated ways of doing, outdated ways of thinking, and doing things that are not good for you, which I really, really hope that's the case for a majority of you. So I feel like you're looking at the bigger picture, or at least you're trying to, at least your intuition is steering you in that direction. So I feel like a lot of you are scrapping away superfluous activities, things that you've been doing that you're like, yeah, I'm not really feeling this. I'm just trying to experiment, but I'm not really feeling this. So you might do away with some old habits, or like whatever you were trying just to try it out, and you realize that it's not really jiving with you. You're going to leave that out. You're going to devote your time and your energy towards more positive, avenues, which is great. So I feel like cutting back on drinking for a lot of you, cutting back on I don't know, whatever, like do like questionable activities, and I'm going to leave that up for interpretation. So this can be, Whatever thing you knew was like not good for you, like I feel like recreational drug use. I do feel drinking. I do see like recreational drug use or being around people that don't see that as a problem. I feel like you're taking more of a moral stance, but I don't feel you being preachy about this to other people. I feel like you're just like, yeah, this is not what I want from my friends, or this is not what I want from a romantic partner. So if you're into that, that's fine. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to, check myself out of this friendship or this relationship. So I feel like you're cutting away things that you know are not good for you on every front, okay? I feel like diet, exercise are prominent. I feel like cutting back on drinking, recreational drug use, or even dealing with people that might be grappling with unhealthy habits. You don't want that to be a part of your life. So that's great. I congratulate you for whatever changes that you're trying to do in your own life, okay? A lot of you are going out less as well overall, because I do feel a lot of like cleaning up on the home front, decorating the house. I feel like, trying to find activities to do in the household, entertaining guests at home as well. So you're not spending money frivolously, you're trying to save up money. And I feel like everyone within your home environment is on board. So there's a lot more entertaining guests at home, cooking more for yourself, eating more balanced meals, and being a little bit more health conscious overall. So this is really good for you, Aries. And I hope a lot of you are dealing with this energy rather than the one before, when I was mentioning like, stubbornly forging ahead with something that you know is not good for you and it's not going to work out. A lot of you might be dealing with an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, who is seen as like a pillar of strength. Okay, so I feel like this person might have been fallen off the wagon, and they're regaining their footing. They're regaining their strength. And I feel like in the past, there might have been lies, there might have been deception, there might have been like lying by omission, especially. And I feel like they weren't in the best frame of mind. They weren't like the most responsible person. I feel like they have a very good heart and they really trust you and you really trust them. But I feel like they're coming back in with an apology, or they clean up their life and they're coming back in. And I feel like you're giving this person another chance, and I feel that's perfectly fine. That's fine if you're giving them another chance. Take it very slowly. Like I said, it's like forging ahead with something when we know it's not going to work out. If you're just giving them another chance to be friends, to, reconnect and reconcile, that's perfectly fine. But if this is a romantic partner, I don't feel that it's going to end well this time around. So just be very careful about that, okay? Reconciliation as friends, that's fine, but I feel like they have cleaned up their life. They have decluttered their life, and they're reliable. And I feel like this is a good person. They have a good heart generally, and I feel like they do care about you. And there's this strong sense of like reliability and dependability associated with the union between you and this person. And I feel for a lot of you, it's somebody that you've known for quite some time. So they're getting their life together, and they need a little bit of assistance from you every now and then. So I don't feel that they're taking you for granted, but I feel there might be a helping hand that you need to lend out for this person. And I feel like there was a lot of frustration that you dealt with this person in the past. They might have disappointed you somewhat. They might have had anger issues. They might have been like, they might have just like made bad decisions, but I do feel they're coming around and they've changed, okay? So overall, it is a really good, redeeming next 2 weeks, and I feel like a lot of you are making very positive changes in your life, or at least you are definitely thinking about it, and you're trying to, steer yourself in the right direction. And I know that it takes a lot of discipline, it takes a lot of trial and errors, and it's going to take some time. So if you're still trying to get yourself there, don't be so harsh on yourself. But I definitely feel some redirection, some, re-steering, taking control of the helm, at the helm, is going to be vital for you for the next 2 weeks.